Hi, I'm Ray and this is TinyTableGames. Thanks for clicking on my video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and continue to join me on my journey of playing through all the games on my game shelf that I haven't played through and getting all the miniatures painted as well. Today we're starting something new. We're playing Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done, published by Renegade Games. It was actually published previously by a different company, but Renegade's doing their thing of scooping up older games that are pretty cool or that they think are pretty cool and giving them new lease on life, as it were. This one came out a couple of years ago, but I hadn't gotten around to playing it, and I thought it'd be awesome to try out. So here we go. So here's the game set up for 2 players, and interestingly, it's a double-sided board. It's up to 4 players. So as you can see right here, Europe 1096 to 1307, 2 players, 140 influence. That's what these little diamondy things are over here. You play until there's actually way more influence than that comes in the game, tokens. But your goal is to play until 140 odd influence is gone. And at that point, the king basically has decided, or the prince I should say, has decided that the knightly orders have obtained too much power, especially the Templars, and it's time to do something about it and disband them. So overall in the game, you're playing as a various holy order or Templar, and rather than focusing on the Crusades in the Middle East section, like in Crusader X, this one focuses on building your power base in Europe. And you use what's called a rondel, which I'll get into. It's kind of an interesting little action wheel thing. And on your turn, you can either do something using your action wheel or upgrade your action wheel, and that's about it. And you can build buildings in certain areas, and these little tokens indicate people who are not of the Crusades that you are trying to conquer and get out of the way. And these are for, these tell you if you build like a church in this space, you get an extra bonus, and so on and so forth. Basically, those are basically bonus locations if you build certain things. So those are distributed randomly at the end of at the start of the game, as well as the NPC tokens for who's controlling those areas. So in a sense, this is where Friday the 13th and all that horror stuff came from. Because the Knights Templar during the Crusades were working for King Philip, not Prince Philip at that point, and eventually they amassed too much power, had too many fortifications across Europe. He thought that was bad and basically pulled their license, if you will, overnight. And on a Friday the 13th, most of the Templars were hunted down and destroyed. Kind of like episode 3 of Star Wars, when the Jedi Order 66 execution happens. So that was their Order 66. Turns out Friday the 13th, which is where a lot of that stuff comes from, if you didn't know. So as I always say, you don't really have to worry about Friday the 13th unless you're a Templar. The goal of the game, of course, is to amass influence or more influence in your opponent, and during setup, all that's randomly distributed on the map. And then the rondel is made up of a bunch of little triangles, well, 6 of them, and they're double-sided as well. When you upgrade them, then there's 2 actions instead of just 1 action. For example, that one says build. And those are randomly set up on one person, and then the other one duplicates it so that everybody has the exact same action wheel, so there's no problems in that regard. Then you randomly pick one of many different holy orders of knights. And in this case, the Holy Sepulchre, who gets, instead of 12 action points, 14, but they get 1 less travel point. So they get more actions, but they don't travel as much. And it's just thick cardstock things, which is kind of nice. I'm glad they're that way, not just regular cards. And over here, the other randomly drawn one was the Knights Templar, who get the regular 10 action points, but once per turn, when distributing action tokens, you may place 2 onto the same wedge, which will probably be pretty handy. So you run around, you build buildings, you go on crusades, or crusade, or you recruit people and try to gain influence. It's all about the influence. So on your turn, there's these various different things. I'll probably turn them this way so you can actually see them. The castles, the churches, the farms, and the banks. And underneath each one has a little like bonus, like -1 build, -1 muster, that sort of thing. So what they're saying is it's easier to do those actions the more fortifications of various types and townships you build up. And as you can see on your turn, this little your player card is pretty straightforward. Resolve an action or upgrade a wedge. That's it. That's all you do. And the action you pick is whichever one you want on your rondel. Now, how much of that action you can do is determined by how many action points represented by these yellow little tokens sit on that rondel. For example, if you wanted to travel, which is this one right here, I'd have 3 points worth of travel that I could use. There's another travel token right here, so I could use 3 points there. And here's where, if you've ever heard people go, oh, it's like Mancala, and where the rondel comes into play, is once you use all the tokens, you take an action in an area, it's like, and you can use all 3 or not, but regardless, you will pick them all up afterwards and then distribute them going forward, because you, in a clockwise fashion, spreading one around on each of your future ones. So basically, you'll have to take other actions in order to kind of herd actions back around to this travel. So it creates kind of a floating window of possibility of what you can do. For example, if you didn't take this action, now you got one here, and so on, and it just goes around and around. So as you might imagine, that can lead to people having problems being able to take certain actions if all your tokens are on the other side of the rondel and you're kind of a wasteland over on this side. But what you really want to do is over here. To avoid just having turns where you basically do nothing except readjust your action tokens, this game said, all right, that's where the upgrade wedge comes in. So you can, at any point on your turn, instead of doing another action that affects the main map, you go, I'm going to upgrade. And when you do that, your action tokens don't change, but on any wedge, it doesn't have to be the upgraded one, you can grab all your stuff and do the distribution, even if you didn't take that action. So that's a way of trying to speed along that process so people don't have nothing to do on a turn. Because as the guy who made the game said in the instructions, it's just designer notes, the being able to do that's kind of just a way of avoiding dead turns, which is always stinky. Now, each player starts off with a single knight token, which is out there on the board. And as they build castles, they free up additional knights. And the knights have to be in a hex location on the map for you to crusade there, or build there for that matter. So it's kind of interesting in that regard. But basically, it becomes kind of a half worker placement, half rondel action management system, as you both try to curry as much favor as you can, as fast as you can, since the game ends when the points are gone. So purple will play first, and I'm going to tip these icons down, tokens down, so you can actually see what's what. So we got the green knight there and the purple knight there, and those are just their starting locations. That's what that little indicator is. Now, in the starting location, it's got these two little indicators, church, and then a hex with a -1 on it, and then a bank symbol. And what that means is if you build either a church or a bank here, it'll cost you 1 less action than it normally would if you do the build action. Do you get any other bonuses? No, you don't, but you do get the building built. So why would you bother going that way? Well, the answer is you get more points for it. You get more influence. So there are the Prussians, which are this symbol, and their strength track is right here, and right now they're currently at strength 3. There's the Slavs, which are this symbol, and this is their strength track. And then there's the Saracens, which are these folks. They do not have a strength track, rather they have a strength track, rather they just have little icons on it. And what happens in the case of the Saracens, if you successfully crusade there and conquer them, you get to take that action immediately. For example, in this case, build a castle right here immediately when you do that. So you get like a free build action at that location. If you attack the Prussians or the Slavs, their strength is equal to whatever the number is on the track currently. And the more of these get taken out, ironically, the more their strength goes up, which is obviously a slightly, from a wargame perspective, incorrect. They're wiping out territory and becoming more powerful, but remember, you're actually talking about court influence. It's getting harder to take more places as this track gets higher, not because they suddenly become stronger, but because you're starting to make King Philip very nervous and angry, because you're looking like your own world power, and he does not care for that. So think of it more that way, as opposed to suddenly the Prussians have 10 times the number of people piled up in Eastern Europe as they did in France. So at this point you're thinking, well, what are my objectives here? And the answer is, well, you've got several. So as it says here in the scoring section, for each enemy type, Saracen, Prussian, or Slav, the little tokens that you get the 5 influence enemy majority tile if you're the one who has the most of them, and these are the tiles. For the first player who has the most Slav takeouts gets 5, and the other player gets 2, that sort of thing. Basically it's 5 and 2, 5 and 2. Obviously no ties in this situation, most likely. Anyway, then there's the end game thing. So if you have the level 4 castle, church, farm, or bank, you get extra stuff there. So that motivates you to push along with that. In fact, you obviously get more points from having high level buildings built than you do from just conquering land. But when you conquer land, you don't just get the in-game award, you get influence right then equal to whatever the strength level is on the track. So the harder they are to conquer, the more points you get for them. Now, as it's Purple's turn, let's look at what he can do. He can travel 1 space, or he can travel 2 spaces, because those are both travel. Where he's standing right now, he could try and do a build action. He only has 2 tokens on the build action. And on the map right here, you can see that you have to build first from left to right. So you can't start on this end. You always got to start with your first one, which is why you get bonus points at the end of the game for number 4 over here. But the build cost is right here. So for the first one, it's going to cost you 3, for the next one 4, for the next one, and so on and so forth. It builds up. +1 basically per time you've done it. The advantage of building your first castle is you also free up an additional knight for more actions. If you happen to do mustering, that's what these are. And the first one costs 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you flip them over, you get bonuses for it. Could build a bank right where we're standing with the 2, because there's a -1 on the space where you start. And the advantage of building a bank is that it gives you a -1 build cost in the future. So there's something to be said for that. The other thing to consider is we're going to need to move along and conquer territory, which means we'll have to travel, and then we'll have to do the crusading. And the minimum score right now is a 3. Unless your opponent takes one of those guys out, then it increases it, and then the strength will be a 4. And I only have a 1-point ability to crusade right now, so we're going to have to ship some tokens around to get over to do that. So that's the other consideration, is what future action are you going to want to take? And as you can see, he's 2 spaces away from nearest ability to attack someone. Going after the Saracens is nice. The only problem with Saracens is they have a strength of 6. So you have to be well prepared to fight them. So gaining additional influence and getting more of our action tokens around to the Crusade section would be nice. See, and we're 2 spaces away from doing anything else. So, mind you, the Templar's ability is once per turn, when distributing action tokens, you may place 2 onto the same wedge. So if we were to do build right now, we could take, instead of doing 1 influence and 1 muster, we could put them both on the influence. You have to go clockwise, so you can't skip that one and then put something on the other one. So if we travel and use both of those, we could get to that area and possibly conquer somebody with a crusade on the next turn and then build. And that might be what we're going to do. So we're going to take advantage of the Templar ability to move tokens onto the same hex instead of having to do 1 and 1 as you go around. So he'll have 3 available for crusading. And he's going to go 1, 2 over to here. You can't build while an enemy controls the territory, but they don't attack you. It just is something you'll have to deal with later. And that's the whole turn. Now it's over to green, who has to decide what they're going to do. They too are 2 spaces away from anybody, but notice green also has some bonus locations up here in Ireland and Northern England, which could get him some build a castle up there and you get extra influence, or a church. That might be the way to go there and soak that stuff up. Now looking at his player board, he gets -1 travel when he does a travel action, but he gets 2 extra tokens total. So it kind of balances out, I suppose. So in this case, I think we will do the travel action, and he's going to head to Ireland to build something. So he's going to use these, so he can move up to 3. And whether you use all 3 points or not, you still have to pull everything off and distribute it around. So he's going to do that. Now he's got 3 points in build, so when he gets there, on his next turn, he can pick a build action to actually create a castle. And when you build something, you also get influence points equal to the level of the building. So 1 influence, 2 influence, 3 and 4. So it's not a ton, but at least it's not a complete waste of your time. So green doesn't need 3 movement, but he's going to move forth up to Ireland, where he will be in position next turn. And here, if you can't see it well, is that token, which basically says you get 1 extra influence if you build either a church or a castle. And now we're back to purple. Purple is going to crusade because the Slavs are only on strength 3, so you have to equal or beat it to make it work. So we'll take his 3 points off crusade, and I think we will distribute them evenly, because that way it helps move the action points forward around to other things. Because the Slavs were at 3 points, so now they go to 4 points, but because he crusaded successfully, he gets the Slav token that he keeps till the end game, because remember, whoever has more of those gets 5 points at the end. And you also get influence points equal to how tough they were to beat just now, which was 3. So that's the lowest amount you'll ever get for beating these guys, but it gives them a head start on building and whatnot, even though there's no extra bonuses for that area. But there are some over there. You just have to get further in, as you can see. Back over to green. The Holy Sept, they're up in Ireland, and now they are going to build a castle. And this is their first castle. So first they take their build tokens and spread them around, moving 1 forward each. And we'll take our castle and a new knight token, so they have a second one, so they can spread around more and go on more crusades and build more things. So, because you can only build where your knight is, so a castle is built, and a second knight is unlocked, who also goes wherever the castle was. And because of this bonus section, which says gain 1 extra influence, you get 1 influence for building your first building of any one type, plus 1 extra influence, so green picks up 2 influence for that particular action. Now it's back to purple, who is sitting on a new, freshly unoccupied place that used to belong to the Slavs. And it looks like it's ripe for building, so that's what he's going to do. Now he can build any of the things, but I think building a castle might be the way to start off. And the reason why is because it unlocks that knight. So when you travel and you have multiple travel points, you can distribute them between your 2 knights. Could also build other things, make it cheaper to build. There's a lot of different strategies you can pick up. Do I want to keep making it cheaper to build? Do I want to just make it cheaper to do musters with having the farms? Do I want to make it just pick up extra influence by having the churches? What's the way to go here? But I think we're going to use all 3 build and spread them around like this to build our first castle and unlock this knight. So down it goes in that little center spot, and our second knight shows up. And for doing that, we pick up 1 influence for building the first castle. Now green at the moment has some interesting choices. As you recall, he's got a castle and 2 knights up in Ireland, but he's also got 4 points of travel right here. Now he's at -1 when he does traveling, so it's really 3 points of travel. But that's not too bad. Plus, it'll distribute things for crusading and building, which he needs to do. And this one single travel point is dead because it's -1. So what we're going to do is use these 4 points / 3 points of travel and distribute them amongst his 2 knights. So as he's got 4 points, 3 points of travel, we're going to have one of the knights just go 1, 2, and 3. Is that the best play? Let's see. Probably, because while somebody else can move here and still fight, you know, it's not just a single person can be there. It's whoever gets there first and does the fight or the build. But we know that purple has no points in crusade at the moment, so that's not really a threat. So there's not much he's going to be able to do about that. So I think that is the play. And the plan for the future knight here is he's going to hop next door and build a church. Okay, purple has a lot of build-up in influence, so he's probably going to have to take that action. All that is you get a point of influence for every point that's sitting on there. You also get bonus influence for every church that happens to be there, because that's when that kicks in, +1 influence on an influence action. There's also some future bonuses way down here in the farms where you start to pick up extra influence for things too, but initially not so much. But regardless, influence action it is. So pick up these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, trying to herd things around over there again so we can do those actions, and pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 more influence. And that's purple's turn. Okay, back to the green knight, as it were. We can either move from Ireland to Scotland up there, except for the part where we don't have enough points in our travel rondel, which I'll show you in a moment. So instead, we're going to take advantage of being right where we're at and crusade against the Prussians, which are currently at a 3 on the track. So looking down here at travel, there's 1 whole point, which counts as 0 points with his -1. So we'll use 3 points is all that's required to defeat the Prussians, but you always move everybody, all the action points regardless. So, we crusade successfully. Hooray. So the Prussians' defensive score goes up to a 4. And the Green Knight gets this token, as well as getting 3 influence tokens, because that's how tough the Prussians were to beat just then. So now back to purple, who has some interesting choices. Could move on and get ready to crusade someplace else, or might plunge deeper into the situation and go for, like over here, where they can both crusade and get a bonus for building. The other alternative, of course, is to just upgrade to shove stuff around, but mustering's not a terrible idea either. All right, well, we got 3 points of travel, so I think we're going to do that. So that'll be all 3. We move 1 here, 1 here, and it would be 1 here to build. And I think that's probably the way we're going to go. And do some traveling, and then we'll muster after that. So for the 3 points of traveling, let's see, we've got 1 Slav token right now. So we're going to go 1, 2. Well, 1 to here, and to go deeper, to move into, to leave a hex that's got an enemy token still in it, it takes 2 points of movement instead of 1. So we're going to plunge ahead with the other 2 points of movement to get to here. And then we'll either be building a farm or a castle. But that is it for purple this turn. Okay, so in this case, green needs to get some more activity over to build, but we also don't want to miss the opportunity to do a lot of influencing. So I think rather than just upgrade, because you could flip this one over and it would be a travel or a build, which is cool. And if you have multiple knights, you can actually do multiple things at once, but I'm not sure you want to do that yet. we'll distribute these guys first and pick up 5 influence on the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as a result, he picks up 5 more influence. He's up to 10. So for purple, I think they're in a good position now with those 2 knights to start exploiting their physical position by sending 1 knight south to start battling Saracens and picking up free builds, and having this guy start kicking around over in Southeast Europe. Close to Turkey at this point, actually, and modern-day Albania. But to do that, he's got to take care of a few things first. And that is, he needs to move some cubes around, some action points. Could just flip something over, but it'd be more worthwhile to do the muster action anyway. The first one costs 3, and you get 1 influence point for doing it. And all you do is flip this over, and what it gives you is a +1 bonus when you do a crusade, because, hey, you mustered more troops. So, 1 influence, and we redistribute these, and it's all 5 of them. We're going to take advantage of the Templar's ability, so 1 travel, another 1 to travel, and then we're going to dump 2 onto crusade, and 1 onto build. So that way we still go clockwise, but you're allowed to drop 2 onto 1 instead of 1. Now green has several choices of what they want to do next. Just waste the action to do the upgrade and not do anything else. So we will get 1 influence point for increasing the muster. Pretty much copying purple in that regard. Oops, get back over here. And now distributing it around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way back to muster. So that doesn't do anything in the immediate future except give them the boost, which they're going to start needing for doing future crusading, as well as adding to their travel total. The next thing they'll probably do is build a second castle, because that gives them +1 travel, so that'll cancel their initial minus, and they'll just give them an action advantage after that. Meanwhile, purple is getting ready to initiate Operation Eastern Europe, which in this case is going to consist of crusading right here against the Prussians, who are at 4 right now. So he needs 4 action points, and he's got that. And of course, because the follow-on to crusading is then building, because you get that extra bonus point in this case for building either a farm or a castle in that spot, we definitely want to make sure that we have enough stuff landing on build after this. So crusading for 4 points, and we're going to take advantage of the Templar ability to stop 2 on 1 area, so we're going to dump 2 on build, and then 1 and 1 as we have to. Because it was worth 4 points, and so we get 4 influence for successfully crusading, as well as this Prussian token. For green, we're going to activate this travel, which might seem counterintuitive, but hang in there. So 1 and 1 for 1 whole point of travel. And that's so you can go from Ireland to Scotland. And when he gets there, he's going to build a church, and it's going to cost him 1 less, and he'll get 1 extra influence for it. But that'll be soon. Meanwhile, purple is now going to build where they just cleared out from their crusade, either a farm or a castle, and pick up 1 influence for it. Might take advantage of the 4 being here, so we'll go castle. The second castle costs you 4, but you get 2 influence for it because it's the second castle. So they pick up 2 influence. We'll move these 4 around. 1, 2. Do I want to change that? I don't think so. I do. 3 and 4. And take the second castle, which gives us a permanent +1 travel bonus now. And by placing it here, because we built a castle, we get 1 extra influence. Okay, the time is coming soon where upgrading might be the correct action here, because then you can have travel and build, which is what this interior thing tells you right here. Which is a nice design feature, is you don't have to keep lifting it up and flipping it over. It tells you right here at the point what's on the other side. So when you upgrade it, for example, you'll have influence and travel, or it's so on and so forth. I think, though, for the moment, we're going to build to take advantage of that first Church of Scotland, to pick up 1 extra influence, and we get it for 1 less, which makes the build cost only 2, which may seem like a waste, but that lets us shuffle all this stuff around. There we go. Oops, and this one. And that bulks up our crusading, and the next plan is going to be to upgrade this token, because that's another build, and then we'll already be in position for that, for building that second castle. So, that said, our first church, which you get 1 victory point for doing that, and then in the future you get +1 influence on influence actions because of the church. Additionally, because of the location we're building it at, we get 1 influence. So that brings green up to 13. And the first Church of Scotland is established. Meanwhile, for purple, I think the time has come to travel, and it's time to branch out a little bit. Now, it could move over to here because it's a -1 and a -1 for building things, which is not a terrible deal, and might do that. Since it's going to take 6 points to crusade down here and get a free castle, but so I think we're going to use a movement point to get, let's see, we've got 1 of each. What do we want to do with that? I think we might move here. That one's complicated. You get the free farm from building there, which negates all those bonus points. That's kind of a trick. So we'll probably move down to here and maybe have him 1, 2, 3, move to here. I think that's what we're going to do. Everybody's going to be shifting down to the southwest. So, using his travel action right here, there's 4 points of travel. And we're going to go 1, 2, and drop that on a crusade, and then build and influence, thanks to that Templar ability. So that's 4 movement points total. So he is moving to here. And he is going 1, and then 2, 3 down to here. To green, who needs to do some traveling and other things. But first, we're going to take advantage of an upgrade and pull all 5 of these off and convert this travel into a travel and build. That way build is on both sides of our rondelle for taking an action, which is kind of handy. And then you just put everything back. Now you may choose to redistribute stuff elsewhere. Take advantage of influence here, and we're going to redistribute influence and put 1 on muster and dump 1 more. Meanwhile, with purple, is now got their knights in position to crusade, except they don't have enough crusade points to do it, so we need to do something about that. So we'll take an influence action at the moment. Well, should we take an influence action, or should we just upgrade? I think we're going to take the influence action and go 1, 2, 3, which gives us 3 additional influence points, which brings our total up to 19. That's about all they're doing this turn. Meanwhile, back with green, we're going to take advantage of this and divide things up. We're going to put 4 points into building and then 2 points into travel, and we're going to build first. And the first thing we're going to do is build a castle. Why? Because it gives us that +1 bonus, which offsets that -1 travel deficit. So we're building a castle right here, and it's our level 2 castle, so we pick up 2 influence points for that, which brings green up to 15. And now we're going to use those remaining 2 points of travel, and because we built the second castle and have the +1 travel bonus, we no longer effectively have a -1. So spending 2 points on travel will be handy, and we are going to go here for 1 point and bring this guy south for an additional point. And that is green's turn. And down here on the rondelle, we distribute everything out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back around. Thunk, 1 landing here. So why was that helpful? Well, because now we've got 5 points on Crusade, plus 1 over there, and we can do another muster for the 4-point one. So that puts us in a good position to do multiple crusading in the near future. Which, by the way, the second crusading point is right here. So if we do a muster, which will shift crusading points over here, and give us a +2 bonus, and then upgrade this one, we'll be crusading like crazy. So there you go. Green's plan ahead. Meanwhile, for purple, we've got, these guys are strength 6 to fight, and you get a free muster upgrade when that happens. And then he could build a church after that. And over here, the Slavs are currently at strength 4, with all kinds of options for building right there. We have a +1 bonus to crusading, but I think we need to do better. Traveling is not really needed right now. So what are we going to do? We are going to upgrade muster and influence, travel and crusade. So I think we're going to upgrade this guy and take advantage of spreading stuff around over here. So 1, and then 2 and 3 right here. With the +1 bonus, that will give us what we need for crusading in that first spot. And then we can move all those, 2 of those to there. 4 + 1 is 5, so that's almost enough to get that other one done. Meanwhile, green over here is going to take a crusading action, dun, 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 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So we'll split that around here. And he's crusading right here. So he takes out one of the Saracens for 6, because they are always strength 6. And you don't get victory points for that. Instead, you get free whatever the token was, which is in this case a farm. So this is his very first farm, and it gives you +1 to your muster results. And you get, as always, when you place a building, whatever the level of building is in influence. So that brings green up to 16 influence. And as for purple, we're going to crusade right here. Their strength is currently 4. And on this crusade token, because it's divided between travel and crusade, we have 3 points, but we have 1 bonus from mustering earlier. So we got 4 points worth of crusading that we can do. So we're going to do that. We're going to take advantage of the Templar ability to move 2 onto the same rondel point and then move the 3rd. And that will give us this guy, the other Frank. The Frank power now goes up to 5, and we pick up 4 victory points. So we'll give ourselves 5 and -1 for defeating that guy, which brings the purple Templars up to 23 points, which is pretty awesome. And they're in position to crusade again on the next turn. Meanwhile, green is going to once again muster. This time it costs them 4 for a second crusader point. And it's their second one, so they pick up 2 influence for mustering once more. And now they redistribute all these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now they've got 3 points on building here, only 1 point on crusading, but their next plan is to flip this travel to travel and crusade, and then they'll have 4, 5, 6, which will be enough to start taking out the more Saracens. And over here for the Templars, to crusade against the Saracens, they need 6. They've only got 4 + 1, 5 so far. So we're going to upgrade a rondel point. This build and travel, I think. And we're going to redistribute it 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just use it normally like that, I think. 3, 4. Maybe we'll dump 2 on build right here. Now there'll be 5 plus 1 is 6, so on the next turn they can go ahead and take out that Saracen. Meanwhile, for the Green Knights, I believe the time has come to travel more. As you can see, the Franks the Slavs are up to a 5. The Prussians are still only at a 4, but you get more points for that as a result. So what we're going to do is, let's see, get a -1 on a build for a farm or a castle right here, or a -1 for whatever you feel like right there, 2 points away. We have 4 points of travel we can use on that, and I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go 1, 2 for him, and we're going to go 1 up to here. So that's 4 points of travel. We're taking it from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, how does that help us? Well, we got 4 build points over here, which means we can build any of this stuff. We need 5 for that. So if we take an influence action next time, that'll give us enough to build the castle and the other thing. But first we're going to need to crusade. But one thing at a time. Meanwhile, with purple, did someone say crusade? They're going to crusade right here against the Saracens for 6 points, which will give them a free muster upgrade. So they get the muster upgrade, so they flip this for free and get 2 points for it because it's their second muster upgrade. So 2 influence plus the Saracen token, and it cost them crusading 5 plus 1, 6 points total. So we got to redistribute these. We're going to dump, let's see, don't need to put extra there, so we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now back to the Green Knights of the Holy Sept, and what are they going to do? Well, kind of want to build right down here. That's the whole reason that guy's there. It's -1 for either building a castle, a bank, a church, or a farm. So pretty much anything you feel like is going to be cheaper than normal. And we've got 4 build points right now that we can use right there. So I think we will build another castle for 2 reasons. One, because that castle would cost us 5 otherwise, but we got a -1 for building it right there. And because that unlocks our 3rd and final knight. And also because it's the 3rd level building, we get 3 influence for it. And in addition to freeing the 3rd knight, we get a +1 automatic bonus to crusading in the future. So now we got a +3 to crusading, which will make the next action of crusading against the Slavs easier for our 2nd knight. But first, move these build points around. I was almost tempted to build another church because we got such a heavy influence build up going, but in this case, I don't think so. So with a +3 to crusading, with those 2 points, that'll still be enough to take out the Slavs next turn. And for purple, I think we're going to carry on with that build action, and we're going to build a church right here because we get the +1 bonus for it. So build action, actually only need 3 points, but you got to move all 4 anyway. And it's the first church, so we get 1, but because of the bonus for building there a church, you get a 2nd one. So that brings them up to 27. Let's see, and now 1, 2, and use that Templar ability to dump 2 here instead of just 1. So for green, we cannot quite get to the point of crusading. We've only got 4 points, 5 points of crusading. We need 1 more. To do that, so this turn we're going to do a build and travel action. So it's going to be 1 point of travel to here, I think, and 3 points, -1, for building a bank. So that's 1 point to travel and then 3 points towards building, which is why we're going for the bank, even though it's at a -1. So I guess we could actually do 1 more point of travel. Yeah, so we will. We'll allocate this other point of travel to that other knight. We'll get back to that in a second. But in the meantime, here's 2 points for building our first bank, which gives us 1 influence token. So that brings us to 22 versus purple's 27. And what's that do for us? It gives us +1 bonus to building in the future. So here's the freshly built bank. And this guy is going to travel 1 space up to here. Although should he? Come to think of it, actually I think he's going to travel. Well, this guy can start making his way down here. So yeah, this guy's going to move to here. Options. And as far as purple's concerned, they are going to build again. And they're going to take advantage of that -2 cost for building another church. This is their second church, so it costs them 4, which they can afford. And there it goes. And so they use all 4 on this build action down here. Whoops, so now they're going to take their Templar ability and dump 2 onto Crusade, and then spread these other 2 up here. Additionally, because that's their second church, they get 2 more influence for it, which brings them to 29. Doing pretty good. And notice you get 4 VP per enemy set if you build all 4 of your castles. And that means having a set of 1 Saracen, 1 Frank, and 1 Slav, or 1 Prussian and 1 Slav. So the Green Knights of the Holy Sept will be crusading soon, but first they're going to do an influence operation because they got 6 points of influence over here. So they're just going to spread it around. There we go. And that's 6 points +1 for the church. So 7 points total of influence they just picked up, which brings them to 29 and tied with purple. The purple Templars are pondering what to do next, and mostly they need to travel. Now, for completing sets by having all 4 castles built, for their second set, they need another Saracen and another Prussian. If he moves over here, that counts as a Saracen and gives him a chance to get a free castle. So that's 2 points of movement to get there. And to go after another Prussian, he is going to move, I think, south. Yes. For the option of getting an extra point when building a bank. Although even better, you get 2 extra points for building a bank there. But we don't need that Slav. So that's 3 points of movement, no problem at all. Actually, 4 points of movement. So all 4 points for travel. Let's see, they going to be doing some crusading next, so we're going to dump 2 there, and then 1 and 1. So they got 5 points. That'll be enough to conquer the Prussian, but not yet enough to conquer the Saracen. But Saracens always stay at 6 through the whole thing. They don't have a strength track. All right, that's it for the Purple Knights. So for green at the moment, the green Holy Sept is going to crusade right here, and they are currently at strength 5. And doing so will let them then clear out a spot to build a castle. That'll be their 4th castle and get a bonus point for doing it. So their crusade action here, that's 4 points, 5, 6, 7, so no problem there. And then distribute it around. And because they were at strength 5, they get 5 influence for doing that. So that brings them to 34 now. As well as they get the token, which completes their first set, which will matter in the end game when they build their next castle, which they're going to be able to do in that same location it'll cost, what, 6 minus 1. So it'll be 5 points to build. So they're going to have to work on that a little bit. So maybe, how are we going to do that? Going to have to muster or something and shift some more stuff over there. So they won't be able to build right away for that. But we'll get there. And that moves the strength of the Slavs up to 6. Meanwhile, the Purple Knight is going to take on the Prussians in the south here, who are currently only up here at strength 4, which makes it quite a bit easier. So they've got 3 tokens on Crusade, +1, +2, so that's 5 total, so that is enough to defeat the Prussians. Let's see, what are they going to want to do after that? They're going to want to build, so we're going to dump 2 onto build and then 1 forward here. And that gives them this Prussian token, which they can put here, so they're working on their second set, even though they haven't have all their castles built up yet. And because the Prussians were on 4, they get 4 victory points, so 5 minus 1. And the Prussian strength now goes to 5. So for the greens, it is now probably travel time. Let's see, if he builds another farm down here in Castile, he'll get 2 extra points for it, but it's cheaper to build here, which makes it faster. And that is certainly something to consider. So 1 point of movement to here, 1 point of movement to here, and he is staying right where he, well, actually we're going to go, let's see, do I have enough movement for that? 1, 2, it would cost 3 points of movement to move there. So nope, we don't have enough for that. So we'll just do that, 2 points of movement for green that time. And as you can see from his rondelle here, here's his 3 points of movement. So 1, 2, and 3. That is going to give him enough to build, not enough to build this castle yet, unfortunately, even though he's got the -1 from the bank. But where his other knight is, it's -1 to build a farm, so he might pick that up. Meanwhile, purple is going to build their first bank down here for 1 less cost and get a 1 point bonus for doing it, which only normally costs 3 anyway. So they get 1 victory point for it. And here's their build actions. 1, 2, and then we'll dump 2 down here. So for green, because of the farm, we've got a +1 muster. And I think that's the action we're going to take. The next muster costs 5 points. And that's the third one, so we get 3 influence for that. So turn in 2, take a 5. So that brings us up to 37, which is slightly ahead of purple, which is at 34. But that's 5 points. It was 4 + 1 for the farm, so that moves all these guys around, which is going to give us enough points to build that last castle soon. Back over to purple, we're just going to have to do a little maintenance, so we're just going to do an influence action here. So that's 5, 6, 7 victory points just straight up. So that's pretty awesome. So 7 more. And these all clear out. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So starting to get some stuff back over to crusading. So that brings the score up to purple at 41 and green at 37 at the top of green's next turn. And in this case, they're finally going to build their castle up there in the north of what, Poland there? So building it costs 6, -1 is 5 for that bank. And here's their 5 build points. So they'll redistribute those around. And they get 4 victory points for building this castle, +1 for where they're building it, so that's 5 points right off the bat, which brings them up to 42 and 1 point ahead of purple. And they've built their 4th castle, which means that trio turns into 4 more victory points at the end of the game. So time to do something useful. They're not in a position to build. They don't need to travel. They don't really have enough influence to muster. So the only thing that's going to be worthwhile is upgrading a tile. So we'll upgrade this one and redistribute accordingly. So one here, and then two here, and one here. So back to the Green Knights of the Holy Sept. We got potential build activity over here, which would be pretty cool. He needs to move on up there, and he needs to crusade right there. And right now, the Slavs are at a 6 in power. But that is okay, because we got 3 points right here for crusading, plus 1, 2, 3, 4 more, which is more than enough. So we will take the crusade action to conquer the Slavs and gain another token. And because they're at strength 6, we get 6 influence points, which brings the Slav strength up to 7 now. Let's see, and we got to redistribute these. So build, influence, and muster. We also need to get some traveling done soon and some building. So there's a lot going on. Meanwhile, for the Purple Templars, it is finally time to execute a crusade against the nasty Saracens there, and among other things, get a free castle and complete their second set. So the Saracens are strength 6, so we got 4, 5, 6 total. So no problem there. And we're going to do 1 and then move these 2 to build, and then this one. And that claims this token, which gives them a second set and gives them a free castle because of that, and 3 influence points because that's their third castle. So that brings them up to 44, which versus the 48 of the green team, and it unlocks their third knight. For green, like I said, want to build another church, I think, for the influence. And that would cost 4, except we've got a -1 for building because of the bank there. So we're going to allocate 3 to building and 1 to travel. So that'll buy this. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that allows us to put a church, right here. And 1 point of travel for this knight to move to the... Well, that's lovely, but do we want to do that one next? Yes, I think they will move here. Okay, for the Purple Knights, the Purple Templars, it's time to get on the move. Let's see. He needs to stay where he's at. He's going to move south to here. And this guy, I think, is just going to hop right to there. So that's 2 whole points of movement. And, is that the best choice? Actually, I don't think it is. Instead of moving to there, this guy is going to move to here. So that's 2 points of movement, and he's going to perform a build action to build our first farm. So, because we got 4 points down here, so that was 2 points to travel, 1 and 2, and then 2 points to build. I guess we'll dump those on crusading. And there we go. So, with only 2 points to build, it costs 3 to build your first farm, but we've got a 1 point bonus to building from the bank. So that allows us to place it. Gives us 1 influence token for it being our first farm. And I think that generally is a more effective use of the turn rather than just moving and waiting. Now green is actually in a pretty good spot. We got one crusade potential here. We got a build spot with a discount for a farm all set up. And he is within striking distance of another Slav token for another crusade, which is fantastic. So we can either do a couple points of movement, literally 1 point of movement, or yeah, we need to get things moved over to crusading though, and that's going to be a little bit trickier. So here's the thing. We can either upgrade this so we can travel and crusade, which obviously won't be enough for conquering the Slavs just yet. Well, actually it would be. So maybe that's the best play. Although pulling all that influence would be nice, I think upgrading this is probably the way to go. And then you can redistribute anything else that you want to. And in this case, I think we're going to redistribute maybe mustering. Although with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's more than enough to take out the next guy. But then we could have 1 point of travel. So we're going to do that. We're going to redistribute muster like that. And that is green's turn. As for purple, they are going to crusade right down here in Sardinia, it looks like. Strength 6, they got 5 points on their crusade token, plus several crusade bonuses, so no problems there. So I think we'll do the double distribute to build, and then spread it around as required. So they conquer there and get a free bank, which gives them 2 victory points. And reduces their build cost by 1 more point for other areas. So 1 point of travel right there, and the crusade, excuse me, 2 points of travel. And against the Prussians, we need a total of 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so no problem there. So this all gets redistributed. And they pick up 5 victory points, or excuse me, influence points for defeating the Prussians there, which gives them another token. And that's why we sent that other guy up to fight the Saracens, so we can get a second set and offset the other guy. And let's see, we are right now at 30, 40, 53 points to purple's 47. So for purple at the moment, we're a little stuck. We need to get some travel going, so we'll burn 1 point of travel there. I think we'll just move this guy over here. It's not an ideal location, but I want to get that 5th castle built sooner rather than later. Or 4th castle, I should say. Now, as for green, we can either build a farm here with a -1, which would cost 3 whole points, which I think will be the play because we got... well, we could also build it for 4 because we have a discount of 1 on building things. So is there any place else worth building? Let's see. 5, 4. I think we will build yet another church. This one would cost 5 points. And we'll build it right here. But it will only cost us 4 because of our 1 bank that we already have. So that is our 3rd church. So that gives us 3 more influence tokens. And using this build action right here, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then 4 from that bank building. So 1, 2, 3. And notice this actually gives, in addition to the influence, +1 travel as well too for all the churches. So that's kind of interesting. But we're already in a good position moving forward. I think the next action is going to be pretty obvious. Let's see, we got to build again here. And that church is at a well, actually the farm is at a -1. So even though we only have 2 here, we could build one more time on the next turn and get that out of the way. But I think our next action might just be go for the influence, because that'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 influence, which is pretty okay. And we got to get some stuff moved around for the crusading, although actually he could crusade next time. He's at 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'd be 5, 6, which is sufficient to take out the Saracens. Which, so yeah, that's going to be the next thing we do. Gotta love all those troop mobilizations. Meanwhile, over here, we're just going to take the hard road, as it were, and build the castle right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so no problem. We can afford the 6, which finally allows us to unlock that bonus. So that's 8 victory points extra right there, but we get 4 right now for building the castle and redistributing these guys. So 1, 2, and then 3, and then we're going to dump the last 2 right here for crusading. Okay, I'll feel better about that for them. And as we said for green, we're going to crusade against the Saracens right there, which will require 6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this distributes around like that. They get the Saracen token and get to build a free bank. So moving ahead, the next thing they're going to have to do is, well, they could take one more build action, believe it or not, on their next turn. But I think unleashing the influence might be the way to go. As fun as it would be to get all the way to there, which we're definitely going to do. We definitely got to finish building out the churches. Let's see, this last one costs 6, 5, 4. So yeah, we'll be able to get there. So looking at the state of the world, the Prussians are at a 6, the Slavs are at a power level of 7. The Purple Templars are in position to crusade once more, and that is their favorite thing to do, so I think they're going to do that. They have to have power 6 to overcome that Prussian, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so no problem there. 1, and then we're going to throw 2 points onto building up here, and the other one lands on influence. But because they were at power 6, that gives them 6 influence. The game is coming close to being done, as there's only 15, 25 influence left. They get the Prussian token, which matters only in the sense that at the end of the game, for awarding who gets more, he's got 3 Saracen, 3 Prussian, and 2 Slavs, and the green has 2 of each. So purple right now is looking to pick up another 10 points. At least, and then split the difference on the third in case of a tie. So over here, the Green Knight's going to have to activate his influence action, because I just don't see another way around it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it picks up 12 influence, so that's 15 and 3 and change. That brings the total point values to 70 for green and 57 for purple. For purple, however, all is far from lost. They basically just need to do a little bit of traveling this turn, primarily. So he's going to move to here for 1. And I think that's about all they can do. But that'll set him up to crusade to pick up his third his third Slav, and they're at 7 right now. So 1 point in travel. Move that around. Now he's got to get 7 points for crusading. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. So if we do the influence action, Let's see. That'll turn into 1, 2, 3, 4. So they'll have 3, 4, 5, 6. That's still not quite enough. Man. And there's only like 11 points left. Well, 13 points left before triggering the end of the game for influence when King Philip gets too antsy with how everybody's doing. So that was only a 1 action turn. That seems kind of wasted, but we needed to get someplace where we could pick up this 3rd token. Now green has built up more as far as things that are out there, more or less, although it's getting pretty close now. But they get an extra 6 points at the end of the game if they build their last church, so that's probably worth doing. And they can put it right there since he's already sitting there. Yeah, I think that's probably the best play right now for optimizing end of game scoring. So this church costs 6 to build. It's the last one. Minus 2, so that's 4. So they can put all 4 points into this build action. So that gives them 4 points because it's their 4th building. 1, 2, 3, 4. That leaves 9 influence tokens left in the game. Okay, well, the Purple Templars are going to trigger an influence action. So that's 4, 5, 6 influence they'll pick up. And they move this around, 1, 2, and then dump these 2 onto Crusading just in case. What did I say, 4? 6 influence. That's not bad. It's not enough to end the game because there are 3 influence left. But that gives them a chance to take a final action to do a crusade. Let's see. The Slavs are at 7. And that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So he needs 2 more turns and he's not going to get them. Rats. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get there. Okay, back to green, who is going to try something bold and a little bit crazy, and that is they're going to do a travel and crusade right to here. Because the Prussians are only at power 6 at the moment, which gives them a chance of doing it. So, using this action right here, 1 for travel and 2 for crusading, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is enough to defeat the Prussians. And they're power 6, so they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that'll trigger the end of the game. So 6 more points for defeating the Prussians right there. And they get a token. And because purple started, that also is the end of the game, which is pretty tidy, because you end it after they're all gone and everybody's had the same number of turns. So now it's time to do end of game scoring. So final scoring time. Who has the most Slav tokens? 2 versus 2, so it's a tie. And in that case, all tied players get 3 points and there's no second place. Next up, who has the most Prussian tokens? It's 3 and 3, so tied again. So 3 to each again, and nobody gets second place. So 1, 2, 3, and 3, and finally Saracens. Purple does have just flat out more Saracens, so they get 5, and the Green Knights get 2. Now we go through the buildings. First, you get 4 influence for each set. So they both get 8 influence. So we'll just do 10s and 10s and take away 2. Let's see, level 4 for the church. That's 6 more influence for green. Purple never got any other level 4s. And now it's just time to add it all up. And so the final score comes out with purple at 82 and the Green Knights of the Holy Sept at 102. So apparently the early build-out strategy worked better in this case. So there you have it, an interesting 2-player battle for Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. There's also the 3/4 player side, which is the same board size, but just has different bonus amounts and different starting locations and whatnot. So anyway, what do I think of it? I think it's a great game. I enjoy it a lot. I'm not a huge fan of Rondel Moncala things, but it works in this case. And it's a nice combination of area control and managing things. Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. It's definitely a keeper. I like it a lot. I like the bits and all the upgrades that Renegade did from the old version. I haven't played the old version, but I saw pictures of it online, and the bits they use for this are way better. So anyway, this is definitely a winner. I enjoyed playing it. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.